Hey everyone, welcome to
Medpod.
My name is Tangela and I'm a senior at City College, majoring in psychology and minoring in biology. And I'm here with my colleagues.
Hi, my name is Karina. I'm a senior majoring in human biology at Hunter College with a concentration in African studies.
My name is Cho, and I'm studying science at BMCC, and then I'll graduate after next semester. And then I plan to transfer to City College for my bachelor degree, specializing in biological science.
Hello, my name is Shayma Al-Herdi. I majored in science, and I'm currently in my second year studying biology at BMCC.
All right, Shaima, tell me a little bit about yourself.
My dream is to become a cardiologist. As a student who is pursuing her ambitions of becoming a cardiologist at the med school, I have always falling in love with the human heart and find the human heart and its complexity to be fascination to learn about. I want to go into medicine because biology is my favorite subject that makes me think always like how our body works, why we feel pain. So when I'm not studying, I always like to go visiting museums, parks. I love photography and of course learning more about the human heart.
Okay, Shayma, you say you want to be a cardiologist. So what is cardiology and what does a cardiologist do?
So basically, a cardiology is a branch of medicine that deals with diagnosis, treatment, and prevention of heart and blood vessel diseases. Cardiologist is a person who provides treatment of chest pain, blood pressure, heart disease, and other heart-related issues. Cardiologists work with other healthcare providers. They may work with physical therapists, nurses, physician assistants, cardiac surgeons, and many other healthcare providers. And by doing this, cardiologists make sure that they provide more inclusive care for their patients.
Okay, Shaima, so tell me more about why you decided to take Biology 220 and how it can support your career path.
IO 220 course provides me with a strong foundation in bio, which is essential for understanding the human body and how it works. This class, we are learning about different systems that works together to maintain internal stability and balance. And one of the systems that we studied in class and I am interested in is the circulatory system. Understanding the circulatory system is like unlocking the door to a complex yet interesting world of cardiology. The circulatory system is responsible for transferring oxygen, nutrients, hormones, and immune cells throughout the body. It is composed of heart, blood vessels that includes arteries, veins, capillaries, and also the blood. It pumps the blood throughout blood vessels to derive oxygen and nutrients to body's tissue and organs. Then the blood returns to the heart through the veins to be reoxygenated. It also helps remove waste such as carbon dioxide, and the heart is the main organ, which is a muscular organ about the size of our fist, and it is located slightly left to the center of your chest. It has 4 chambers, 2 arteria left and right, and 2 ventricles left and right. The blood flows inside these chambers.
Hey Shayma, can you please tell me more about how blood flows through the whole body?
Blood circulation is indeed a complex yet incredible process that involves the heart, blood, and blood vessels. In mammalian heart, we have 2 circuits. The blood flows into 2 circuits or 2 baths. The pulmonary circuit carries deoxygenated blood from the heart to the lungs. Blood circulation through the heart begins with the deoxygenated blood from the body entering from superior and inferior vena cava. The deoxygenated blood flows into the right atrium through tricuspid valve into the right ventricle. The right ventricle contracts and pumps deoxygenated blood through the pulmonary semilunar valve into the left and right pulmonary artery and to the lung, where gas exchange takes place. After the blood gets oxygenated in the lungs, the systemic circuit begins. Oxygen-rich blood travels from the lungs through pulmonary vein back to the heart and into the left atrium. From the left atrium, the blood moves through the mitral valve to the left ventricle. The left ventricle then pumps this blood through aortic semilunar valve to the aorta, out to the rest of the body, back to the heart, and the cycle repeats over and over again.
So fascinating, Shaima. But can you tell me what would happen if the circulatory system stopped working or fails?
Well, if the circulatory system fails to function, it can lead to various heart problems and eventually the death of the individual. For example, heart failure is a condition that occurs when the heart isn't able to pump enough blood throughout the body, and this is because the blood vessel could be blocked, which make it difficult for the heart to pump blood efficiently. That can be caused by many factors including coronary artery disease, high blood pressure, and heart valve diseases. In addition to that, when valves fail to open or close, it can cause blood to flow backward through the valve, reducing the forward blood flow and leading to a volume overload into the heart. This can also cause narrowing of the valve, which limit the flow of blood out of the ventricles or atria. Therefore, it can disturb the blood flow through our heart to our body.
We are gonna take a break. I'm joking. We are not going to take a break. Right now, we're going to jump into show. So, show, can you tell me why and what you're planning to do in the future?
My plan is to get a PhD, but I'm an international student. I can't spend long time going to school. It is expensive, really. So, I'm going to do PA first.
So, Joe, can you tell us why did you choose the Bio 220 class and how it will affect your future goal?
I'm doing this class because it is a prerequisite to apply the PA program and it is interesting. Today, I will discuss the digestive system, and this became my interest since I saw a lot of children have stomach problems when they were young. I used to have it when I was young, and it had been so serious I ended up being hospitalized so many times. Also, I was specialized in pediatric. When I do PA program, my only reason to be a doctor is my mom, as she was a doctor and had to give it her career after my dad passed away. The only reason why she quit her job in my home country, doctor only made a small amount of money.
Okay, so let's hear the topic for today. So when you hear about digestive system, can you tell me why it's important, if very important, and why?
Yeah, it is very important. It is doing a lot of work in order to digest the food that we eat every day and eliminate the indigested one. But how? It starts with the mouth, oral cavity, esophagus, that connect the mouth to the stomach. And then after the stomach is the small intestine, large intestine, and then the end is the rectum, where undigested material or waste are stored before they are removed through the anus. And the mouth is mainly due to the mechanical digestion of the food. It breaks down the food into the smaller pieces. And then it mixes with salivary. All these mechanically digestive move into the stomach through the esophagus. This is the overview of the digestive system.
So, Cho, can you tell me why do we choke when we eat food and talk at the same time?
Good questions. Choking happen either because there's a lid on the glottis, which is the top part of our trachea and the windpipe. That lid is called epiglottis, and then that prevents food from entering the windpipe. In other way, it prevents choking. In most children, choking happen because they love to talk and play at the same time when they are eating.
Joe, can you tell me about the stomach problems that you know that are common in children?
Well, the most common stomach problem in children is lactose intolerance. It is because of not producing enough lactase, which is the enzyme to break down the mixed sugar to the glucose and galactose that can easily be absorbed by the small intestine. I have had the same problem since I was 5 years old, and then I never drank milk after that. Home country, there's no lactose-free milk. After I moved here, I started to drink oat milk instead of the normal versions. The symptoms for the lactose intolerance are diarrhea, stomach cramps and pain, stomach aches, or bloating. But diarrhea is a very first symptom that happened to me. Last but not least, that I want to discuss is constipation, as is one of the most famous problem in the kids, but also in adults who have office job. Most of the kids, they always forget, they don't want to drink water. I don't know why, but my baby cousin really hate to drink water. Water have the bowel movement, so your body is dehydrated, and then the undigested food will move constantly, and then they will stay longer in the rectum. Like I said, the function for the rectum is to absorb water from the undigested food to make it hotter, right? So the longer it stays in the rectum, the harder it gets to pass through anus. And water is not the only cause of the constipation. The diet is one of the most important factors to prevent constipation.
Okay, so can you tell me the main problem of constipation?
Of course, there's a big problem about the constipation when it happens to kids because they're so afraid of going to the bathroom since it is too painful. I really want them to know that the longer they hold it, the more painful they will feel. One day, if I become a pediatric, I really want them to know about that one. I know exactly how it feels like. I do have this problem in me because I sit all day long since I have to walk in the classroom and I also have my own classes. In order to prevent that, I walk from my home to college, back to bed every day. I mostly don't take the train unless I'm late or something like that. The reason why I want to be a pediatrician is because in my home country they prescribe the wrong medication all the time, and because of that my dad passed away. In order to change that, I want to be a physician assistant and help especially kids so they don't get the wrong medication. I wish I would be a very good pediatrician PA one day and enjoy my life while working with beautiful little human beings and doing the job that I like the most. Welcome back. We have the pleasure of having Karina, a senior at Hunter College, joining us to speak about her major on human biology. Karina, let's dive in. Can you tell us more about why you choose to permit this class for your master in physician assistant and how it ties into your major in human biology?
Yeah, of course. So I decided to e-permit this class because I really need this class for physician assistant and also for my major, which is human biology. But the main reason why I decided to e-permit this class was to have a really good schedule this semester where I can work and study at the same time. I currently work at SUNY Downstate Hospital, and basically having this work with the geriatric psychiatry department, I had a really huge interest in psychology, which is why I'm going to talk about the nervous system today.
Working in the psychiatry department already sounds like a unique experience. How has your current role influenced your personal interest in the nervous system?
Amazing question. So working in the psychiatry department, not only dealing with the patients is amazing for me, but I found that the main reason for people to have mental illness is because they have an abnormality in the nervous system. So that's why it's highly important to understand the nervous system as a professional in the future.
Since you mentioned the complexity of the nervous system, can you please tell me more about it?
Yeah, of course. So for me, the nervous system is basically a complex and really important part of our body because it sends the signals through the body and enables communication between different parts of the body. So talking more, it is responsible for the processing sensory information, regulating bodily functions, and facilitating communication through electrical and chemical signals. So as we study in class, we did learn about the neuron that is basically one of the main parts of the nervous system. And the neuron is divided into 4 parts that you can imagine. There's a cell body, there's an axon, there's a dendrites. I would call it basically the fingertips of the neuron, and in the fingertips of the neuron there is the spines. If you guys were in front of me, I would ask you guys this question. Can you guys guess how many parts there is in the nervous system? And the nervous system is basically divided into 2 parts. Yes, 2 only. And the one is the central nervous system and the peripheral nervous system. The central nervous system is basically composed of the brain and the spine, and the peripheral nervous system is composed of all the nerves that are outside of the central nervous system. As mentioned in the central nervous system, we have the brain, and the brain is basically the main part of your body that basically controls everything else, as you guys already know. And in the brain, we do have different regions that is basically really responsible for different functions. And basically, the cerebrum is the biggest part of the brain and is for high level of thinking. The cerebellum is for motor control and memory. For example, if you drive, you're gonna have that stored in the cerebellum, so you can basically drive next time and know how to drive. And also, we do have the brainstem that is for regulation of basic life functions like breathing and heart rate. And also, the other part of the central nervous system is our spinal cord. And the spinal cord, you can basically feel it, is on your back and is really long and has a thin structure and runs from the base of your brain through the vertebral column. And it acts for basically communication pathway, for example, sending out the signals through the body from the brain. If you damage your spinal cord, that would be really fatal, and sometimes you can be paraplegic. The peripheral nervous system is our second main component of the nervous system, and as I mentioned, is consists of nerves and ganglia. The ganglia is basically a group of neurons that are located outside of the central nervous system. And basically, the peripheral nervous system is divided into somatic nervous system and autonomic nervous system. A somatic nervous system is basically a system that controls voluntary movements and sensory perception, and basically the motor neurons are sending signals from the central nervous system to the muscles, enabling voluntary actions. Basically, that's how the muscle contracts. So basically, as well as the neurons from the sensory transmit information from the body to the central nervous system for processing. And going to explain right now about the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system is basically the system that regulates the involuntary functions. For example, when you have your heart beating, you have digestion, which uses muscles, and also the sympathetic and parasympathetic divisions, which are basically the opposite effects of maintaining the homeostasis of the body. This also includes the sympathetic division, basically the fight or flight. For example, if you're having a lot of adrenaline fighting someone, you're gonna feel that feeling right away. For example, right now I'm fighting Show. Oh my god, so how do you feel about that, Show?
Oh my god, I was so scared. My heart beat really fast.
Exactly, and that's exactly how you should feel. I even saw your eyes open wide and your pupils were also dilated. So that's basically how you should feel with the fight or flight effect in your body. And also talking about the parasympathetic division, it basically is the rest and digest activity. For example, it's slowing your heart rate, constricting pupils, and enhancing digestion. For example, basically after you eat a really good meal, chilling, that's basically your rest and digest. As I have mentioned before, the main part and the main functional unit of the nervous system is basically the nerve cells, the neuron. And the neurons basically is the one that transmit information through the body from electrical impulses, the actual potentials, and also travel along their length, basically travel along our body. So yeah, a signal of a neuron is transmitted from the dendrites, that I would call it your fingers of your hand, and basically goes through the axon, and in the axon terminal we have basically the first part of the synapse, and the synapse happens from the axon terminal with another neuron's spine, and in the middle of the axon terminal and the neuron spine we have our synaptic cleft. So after having this connection, that's basically how they send a signal through electrochemical signaling. Some of the things that you guys already can imagine that's related to our nervous system is basically our sensory perception, motor control, cognitive processes, emotions, and regulation of our bodily functions. For example, right now, when I'm nervous, I'm shaking, guys. I'm shaking and I wanna cry. That's exactly how our nervous system works, because you can see a mixture of emotions. For example, the nervousness, the laughing, and the crying at the same time. So yeah, basically I find it really important to understand the nervous system, because not only to work in psychiatry, but to understand the brain and its functions related to our body, because it's the main thing. If you think about it, our head is the heaviest part of our body, which it basically has our brain. And I find it really fascinating to understand more about the nervous system and our brain too, but we do need to remind ourselves that the brain do connect to other systems, not only the nervous system, but also the endocrine system. Alright guys, welcome back, and I have a beautiful lady here beside me that her name is Tangela, and the first question that I would like to ask her is why she chose to e-permit this class.
Thank you. So I decided to e-permit this class because I heard great reviews on Professor Giza here at BMCC, and she sure does live up to the hype. Also, so I'm e-permitting because I plan to go to PA school, and one of the prereqs for PA school is Bio 220.
That's great, Tangela. Could you elaborate what is a PA and what are the prerequisites to become a PA?
That's a wonderful question, because it's true that not a lot of people know what a PA is. So a PA initially stands for physician assistant or physician associate, and a physician assistant is a healthcare professional, a medical professional who collaborates with physicians and other healthcare providers to offer a range of healthcare services. The length of schooling for physician assistants tends to be 2 to 3 years depending on the program, and PAs receive extensive training in performing physical examinations, diagnosing, creating treatment plans, prescribing medications, and assisting in surgeries or performing their own depending on their specialty. PAs can choose to work in a variety of medical facilities like clinics, hospitals, physician offices, and they usually assist doctors in patient care by often carrying out identical duties under a physician's guidance. For the purpose of offering a broad range of healthcare services, they undergo in-depth medical training. 2 to 3 years of PA school consists of a rigorous combination of hands-on training, classroom instruction, and clinical rotations where multiple specialties are introduced and experienced. And then eventually you can choose what specialty fits best for you. So some of the prereqs for PA school, it usually varies, which might be difficult. So you really do have to do your research. Some PA schools may require organic chemistry with lab or biochem. Usually the prereqs are Bio 1, Bio 2, Chem 1, Chem 2, including statistics, genetics, microbiology, and more. Some schools also require human anatomy and physiology 1 and 2 with lab or human physiology. So while in undergrad, you also, if you're planning to go to PA school, you also want to focus on getting hands-on patient care experience, which is your patient care experience hours for PA school. There's also volunteering hours, shadowing hours, and letters of recommendations you can attain from working with physicians or PAs or nurse practitioners.
That's great, Tangela. I love to hear that we need so many things to apply for physician assistant. But could you tell me more about yourself and how are you getting your patient care hours currently?
That's a wonderful question, Karina. So currently I am attaining my patient care hours working as a medical assistant in dermatology and cosmetics. There are many doctors, PAs, and NPs in the practice that I work for, and on a daily basis I get to work and assist different providers and assist them in surgical procedures such as if we do biopsies or excisions. So it's really fun and it's a great hands-on learning experience. So that's one way I am attaining my patient care experience hours. I haven't started attaining my volunteering hours yet, but I do plan to volunteer maybe at a library or at a school or even at a physical therapy clinic. So another thing I wanted to add is that you don't need to volunteer in healthcare to get those volunteering hours. You can actually volunteer in whatever interest you have. So for example, as I said, like library, because I love reading, and also, schools, because it's really fun to see young minds learn. So I know you are also currently getting your community service hours or volunteering hours. So how are you exactly getting it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I did not include that in my introduction, but I got my community service hours working with an organization called Repair the World, and I was basically working with a few nonprofits such as Hunger Free America, My Council on Housing, just helping my community with benefits and resources that they need to apply for tenants or help people around the community.
Wow, that's amazing. So I also do plan on doing a mission trip. So I am looking into that as well. And I feel like just helping the community in general is a great way to show your involvement in the world.
All right, Angela, I love to hear that you want to help our community as well. But could you tell me more, as working with dermatology physician assistants, nurse practitioners, and doctors, what have you learned about their roles and how does your role as a medical assistant connect to theirs or makes their life easier?
So medical assistants play a very vital role in running a smooth operation of a dermatology practice. They make sure that patients receive the care they need, and so the dermatologist or dermatology PA NP is free to diagnose and treat skin conditions rather than spend too much time on non-medical or administrative duties. So my job as a medical assistant is to make the lives of the providers I work with easier and to keep everything stocked up and ready to go for use. Also, initially I scribe for the providers and assist in any procedures, or if a patient is bleeding, I help to stop the bleeding and patch them up. And so another thing in my job is that we also learn a lot of medical terminology in dermatology, and we learn how to treat a lot of skin conditions. So in the practice I work for, we see a lot of patients who come in for medical reasons, or a lot of people do come in for cosmetic things as well, like Botox or fillers.
Okay, Tangelo, what is a topic that you interest the most in our class?
So one topic that we've been learning in class that interests me the most is the anatomy and physiology of the circulatory system. I think it's a very extensive and relevant component, which is also going to be further talked about when I start PA school. So similar to how Shema mentioned for medical school, it is also very important for PAs to learn about the cardiovascular system and how the heart pumps and how the anatomy of the cardiovascular system works, as well as the blood components and circulation mechanisms. Also understanding like disorders and diseases of the circulatory system, such as hypertension, heart disease, aneurysms, and much more. So in terms of PA school, PA students study how to conduct physical examinations, interpret diagnostic tests such as electrocardiograms or EKGs, and they also recognize the warning signs and symptoms of circulatory system problems. So under the supervision of doctors, PAs, they gain a lot of skills in evaluating cardiovascular health, managing cardiac emergencies, and writing prescriptions for the right drugs, and also supporting a range of cardiac procedures. PA students frequently work in cardiology departments as part of their clinical rotations in order to obtain real-world experience. And I think that's very important because real-world experiences help to make great providers. So to answer your question, Cho, the circulatory system is truly fascinating to me, mainly because it's very complex and there are new technologies and approaches for treatments that are continuously advancing in today's world. And the field of cardiology and vascular medicine in general, it's always advancing. So my partner Shema actually talked a lot about the circulatory system and the cycle of the cardiac system.
All right, and to finalize this podcast, I do have information about medical school. And Shema, can you tell me the process of applying to med school?
Of course, Karina. So the journey to become a cardiologist began with finishing my bachelor's degree in biology, which provide me with the foundation knowledge required for med school. So to boost my application, which is not mandatory to do, we can apply for internships, shadowing experiences, volunteering experiences, and one of the examples of internship will be working in hospitals, working in clinics, shadowing the roles in the hospital, and even in clinics. So once I finish my undergraduate studies, the next step is to enroll in medical school, where I'll spend approximately 4 years. This is where I will acquire the medical expertise needed for cardiology. After a medical school, I'll move on to a residency program, which typically lasts for 3 years. This residency is important for developing a stronger foundation in general medicine. Following my residency, I'll undergo a fellowship in cardiology, which lasts around 3 years. During this period, I'll gain specialized knowledge and hands-on experience in diagnosis, treatment, heart-related conditions, and it is a phase where my dream of becoming a cardiologist comes true. And finally, once I complete my fellowship, I can become a board certified in cardiology.
Thank you guys for listening to our Medpod.
Be sure to be on the lookout for more episodes of Medpod.
We hope you enjoy it.
Yay!
Oh, we're not done yet. What do you guys mean?
Dun dun dun.
I'm just joking. We're done. Thank you for joining us on the Medpod podcast. I hope to inspire others who share the same dream and hope you've gained a deeper knowledge of understanding why we are so passionate about being a healthcare providers and how our academic pursuit support our dreams. If you have any questions or want to share your own journey, please reach out to us. Until next time, stay curious and keep those heart healthy.